Good morning, Loma Linda University faculty, staff, administrators, supporters, and well-wishers, but most of all, good morning to the class of 2021. I stand here today representing not only my department, the School of Behavioral Health, but my community, my family, and thousands of minority graduates across the United States, as well as the Boogie Down Bronx uptown. I moved out to California a little under 4 years ago after graduating from the world's most renowned and illustrious HBCU, that of Oakwood University. When I moved here, I moved out here with just a car full of clothes, no apartment, and no job. But luckily enough, I was fortunate enough to have a friend that sticks closer than a brother, in which I could sleep on his couch for a few days. Upon arriving here within less than a week, I ran into an old high school friend in whom just so happened to be looking for a roommate for a 2-bedroom apartment. Isn't it amazing that God has already made provisions and oftentimes already has provided a ram in the thicket to this day? Had I remained stationary, though, I would have never known this to be true. I've learned that when God says move, you move just like that. It was in that moment that God began doing something in me, or in fact, doing something through me. He was teaching me not only what faith was, but in whom my faith abideth in. To say that 5 years ago I even planned to be in California would not be the truth. But if you want to make God laugh, just show him your plans. It was not until my senior year of high school that I actually went through an entire academic calendar school year without getting suspended or expelled. You see, today the world sees a black man who's graduated with his master's degree and, of course, the cliche line who's defied statistics and beat the odds. But in reality, you're looking at someone who was once labeled as an at-risk youth, one whose former anger problems actually almost destroyed his life and the life of many others, someone who was rebellious, someone who even had relatives and folk alike look at him in the face and say, "You will never amount to anything." People looked to my mother's face and said, "Give up on your child." But thank God for praying mothers. You see, my mom was born with the specialty of being deaf and hard of hearing. And I say specialty because what man refers to as a disability, God refers to as a unique ability. There have been times in our life where there was no money to pay the bills, but I've seen an envelope at the door right on time. There have been times in our life when we would have no groceries, but I would oftentimes hear the house phone ring and a church member might just call, and sure enough, my mom would come upstairs with groceries. There were times in which my mom would put one plate of food on the table and say she was not hungry, but I would stay up late at night knowing she was crying because the one plate of food she put on was the only thing in the house left to eat, and she gave it to her son. But I tell you, I said, thank God for praying mothers. One thing my mom did not do was not only did she not give up on her son, she never gave up on her God. The lady today has multiple master's degrees, multiple bachelor's degrees, and a plethora of certificates. And the very same people who talk negatively about her now apply to work for her. I stand here today not only as a graduate, but a survivor of trauma and abuse. I stand there as someone who believes man-made accolades and accomplishments are far less important than the underlying work that has to be done in order to progress and move forward in life. From the social work perspective, we view clients by assessing and analyzing through the biopsychosocial spiritual lens, as well as through the eyes of trauma-informed care. And while both childhood and environmental factors played a direct role in my development and childhood and contributed to the poor choices I've made as a child through my early adulthood, it is evident now more than ever that I'm on the right path. Through my many mistakes I've learned, and a road well traveled is a road well known. I have the option to choose to be grateful to God and never speak on anything that He's done for me. But I also have the option to take 2 buckets of water to go back in the burning building to save someone else's soul. So today I'd like to invite you graduates to understand that your attitude determines your altitude. Your mindset directly influences the direction you take in life. When you know who you are and whose you are, the world's self-projections can do nothing but only be a reflection of themselves. I can attest that I know what it's like to hit rock bottom emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. I know what it's like to lose everything from family to friends. But by having my own integrated behavioral health team comprised of advisors, mentors, and professors such as Dean Buckles, Dr. Freeman, Lapali Talola, Doctors Chris and Olivia Boyle, as well as my own clinical trauma specialist who is actually watching live online, as you can see, I've been able to make it this far on my journey. And from the looks of it, graduates, I can see from up here that you chose never to give up or never to give in. I've learned in moments of solitude, in moments of separation and isolation, that God is more concerned about your preparation than your elevation. I've learned that and have found out that in moments when I've had no more physical and mental strength to carry on, when I looked back and saw one set of footprints, it was then that God had carried me. But I also know that despite when I'm weakest, God still gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. He allows pain not to harm you, but to change you. For he oftentimes, like he did it for Job, he allows everything that you have to be taken from you so that everyone can see who it is that you need. This weekend's events are nothing but a checkpoint signaling how far we've all have come. But I'd like to really say that tomorrow is not really your graduation day. It's just the day you receive your diploma. The day you graduated was the day you chose not to give up and not to give in. That's what I believe, and I believe it with all my heart. And so, I'd like to say today, as we gathered under this whole roof tonight, although the tides and the waters might seem to be drowning you, be like Finding Nemo and just keep swimming. For this is not the end. The end of one journey is just the beginning of a new path. But I'd like to say one more time, if this is the last graduation that we ever assemble under one roof, there's another graduation weekend coming. One of a consecration service in when the dead in Christ shall rise first. A baccalaureate service where we ascend to the heavens, as well as a commencement service in which that we will not get our cap and gowns or we will not get diplomas, but we will get our white robe and starry crown. My name is Alexander Edgar Archer Brown, and I am a Master's of Social Work graduate. I am the son of a Black Caribbean woman whose specialties made her even more unique. I'm the godson of Desmond Brown, who embodies the saying that a birth certificate might show you who's your father, but life will show you who's your dad. I'm the grandson of the late, great Elaine Belnavis Brown, who embodies the statement that your grandmother's prayers are still protecting you. But most of all, I stand before you as a child of a king. God bless you.